Sharpening, that is what we're going to do today. We keep the tool in a cork like this to help prevent this from getting dull. If you drop this on the floor, you poke it into whatever, it's probably going to break. So when you're not using it, leave it in the cork.
Now let's talk graver anatomy. This part of the graver is the face. The face is at 45 degrees and is the part of the graver that we will sharpen first. This small reflective area on the point of the graver is called the heel. It is on the bottom of the graver. This enables us to lift the graver at a slight angle, approximately 15 degrees, in order to cut. This bottom area of the graver is at 90 degrees. This tapering of the graver doesn't necessarily add any functionality to the tool. This does, however, cut down on the amount of time that you will need to sharpen the face. We will not be tapering the tool in this video.
So to know whether or not your tool is sharp, you can test it with your thumbnail. There is my thumbnail. There is the tool. And what I'm going to do is just lightly press it right here. And I'm barely touching that, and it's not going anywhere. If it's super sharp, it's not going to move, it'll stick. If the tip has been popped or it's dull, it'll easily slip. I often get asked how many times or how often am I going to need to sharpen this tool, and unfortunately the answer is depends. I can't give you a clear answer to that because it all depends on how the tool is taken care of. If you drop it on the ground, or I don't know, it gets stuck into something, or perhaps just the way that you're cutting, maybe you're putting too much force, or maybe you're popping up a whole lot really hard with the tool, or maybe you're cutting into a really hard material, all of those things will dull the tool much faster, or it can pop the tip. So you just need to be very careful how you treat the tool. We have two stones to work with. We have a 260 grit stone. Everyone has one of these. And then you either have a 1200 stone or a 600 stone. And the number is written right here. Okay, so if you look in this little area, it's also very obvious if you feel it. The 260 is far more coarse than either the 600 or the 1200. So we're going to start with the 260 to sharpen. The other tool that you have is this sharpening jig. You see that screw at the top? That's the screw that we use to clamp the graver down. On all of these are all brand new. We can see that the screw has a bit of a point to it, and that is going to be problematic. So what we need to do is grind that point off. That way, the graver clamps more easily into the fixture. This other side screw right here, for our purposes, we won't be using that. We'll just be using this one right here.
Remove the screw from the jig and grind it on the 260 wheel. Get it nice and flat. Place the graver in the jig and try to get the face flat on the stone. Sometimes it won't be perfectly flat. This is okay. You can grind the face until it is. Make sure the screw is securely tight so it doesn't move. You can use a rag to firmly grip the screw to tighten it. Once it is tightened, look at the graver and the jig from the side to make sure that it is placed in straight. It is possible that it would be crooked. We will start with a 260 wheel. Grind back and forth and move in different directions. If your tool was dull before, this would be a good time to test whether or not it is sharp. If it is sharp, move on to the 1200 wheel. Do the same thing, back and forth in different directions. In this video, you see that I'm using a 1200 grit wheel. A 600 grit wheel will be fine as well. As you sharpen the face, it will kick up a burr on the side of the face. So lay the tool on its side and just go back and forth on the 1200 or 600 wheel to get that burr off. Next, we will apply the heel to both sides of the point. Lay the graver flat on its side with the point touching the stone. Slide across. You will do this 4 times on each side. The heel will be the size of a ballpoint on a pen. You can see it reflected as you tilt it in the light. A better way would be to examine it with a jeweler's loupe in your kit. Try to make sure the heel on either side is the same size.